What is going on? One hell of a time, podcast fans. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special podcast and a special episode because it's episode number one of hopefully many. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I have two legendary moguls here, ladies and gentlemen. Two legendary moguls. One is literally building the way for independent horror, and he's our special guest for today. But the other is my co-host, and oh boy, do we have a co-host for you guys. We're bringing back the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. We're bringing back a legend, ladies and gentlemen. I do mean a legend. If you have seen him at your local horror convention, ladies and gentlemen, stuntman, actor, director, writer, William Perry, aka my friend Bill. Bill, how the hell are you?
I am bringing sexy back, bitches.
Oh,
it's so good to be here. We have got some fun stuff to talk about today. Got a good friend of mine here with us today, a guy who kind of in a way is both my brother and my hero. In a way, he's one of the first people to believe in some of my work that I've done recently. He has got, I'm going to let him tell you about what he has built, his little empire on the web and on the phone and in the world now these days. He's actually got some film out. He is Mr. Dane Petrali. Dane, say hello to everybody.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Very excited.
Like this. All of a sudden, it's like we're trying to sell cars. Hey,
you'll get used to it, Bill. We'll ease you into it.
It'll fade in. How you doing, Dane?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm not going to try to encapsulate every fabulous thing you have done, but I will just tell you the one thing. Dane has a site called Chilling.
Yeah,
the Chilling app, I should say. And Dane and I met because I saw him at a con, actually. We have a mutual friend, Lee Waddell. He was there saying hi to him. And he told me about his Chilling app. I had just written a couple of books, and Dane showed the absolute balls to put my work on his site and got some real confidence from the fact that he had just a massive audience of people on the Chilling app. How many people you got in there now, Dane?
We've got about 500,000 registered emails on there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
The actual daily users are a different story, but they're kind of a roller coaster.
Right, right. And we'll get into the ups and downs of, obviously, you are building the next Shudder, the next Netflix, and as that, you'll have your ups and downs. But as I'm going through, the Chilling app, it has a wide variety of different elements of horror. And as the Hell Zone, you guys are huge fans of horror, and independent horror is on a rise right now. Can you kind of talk about where did the idea come from when building this platform for the future of horror fans?
Yeah, so it began during COVID, actually. And I'm a YouTuber. I narrate scary stories. I've been doing that for about 10 years. And around COVID time, channels were being demonetized. The entire channels were being demonetized randomly at that time. It was a very scary time for content creators on YouTube. And it was terrifying because that was the only means of putting food on the table for me at the time. And so I had the idea. I wanted to be able to have my scary stories that I was narrating on another platform or an app. And so without basically somebody else in control over the money that it makes, essentially. And so I reached out to my buddy Chris. We've been best friends for over 30 years. And he's got a background in business. He's a very intelligent guy. And we just put our heads together, and I said, hey, I want to make an app where we can have scary stories on there, and I can put mine on there, and I can recruit some of my YouTuber friends to put theirs on there. So that's how it started. It started with just short form scary stories, and then just kind of evolved over time. It's been 6 years. And after that, we got into podcasts for a little bit, and then we've just kind of shelved that for now, but that is something we plan on bringing back. We developed and evolved the app into a video capability. to put feature films on there. So now we've got distributors and a bunch of distributors on there that give us films all the time. And after that, we realized that we need to have kind of our flagship project, and then that's where Gale Stay Away from Oz comes in. That's a whole nother story.
Obviously, you are, from the older generation. I'm not calling you old, Bill. I'm sorry, but you're retro. You're retro to the millennials and the Gen Zs
I'm
today.
historical. I'm historical fiction.
But you do remember, right, back in the day where and Dane, talked about, their original IP. Gale Stay Away from Oz is based off loosely, right? Obviously, in another way, off of the original story of The Wizard of Oz, right? And there's been many iterations. We've had, the first one, the original one. Then we had the one with the great Michael Jackson, which, if you don't know, Bill was on stage with the one and only Michael Jackson. But Bill, my question to you is, when you see someone, like a project like Gale Stay Away from Oz get the footing that it has and kind of has built that cult following with an IP that, generationally has had its ups and downs, what did you think of it? And then, Dane, we'll get into the nooks and crannies of what it was like to be executive producer and create that Gale Stay Away from Oz.
I would say my first feeling was jealousy, envy, murderous rage, because and I know you've got some photos that we can show of some of the original graphics on this. It's just beautiful work.
Beautiful.
And the great thing that I believe that the folks at Gale did really well over time is they took the established IP, and with a single image, with a single haunting image, you go, oh my God, if that's what the Scarecrow looks like, what does the freaking Tin Man look like? And it just captures your imagination and allows you, even with just seeing a trailer, to think about, where is this going? There's a great scene of elderly Dorothy just clacking her ankles together, and there's and nearly bloody, and she's just saying, no place like home, no place. It just, your mind just runs with it, and it's the most beautiful use of established IP with a twist, because it just sets your imagination running. So watching that, I was like, son of a gun, that's good, man. That is so tight and so well done. And yeah, it just really, it got me, thinking about how well they did that. And it's tough to work, when you're trying to get your first film made. One of the first things that people told me about my work is it's too original. I don't know how to sell this. I don't have anything like this. Tell me 2 films that this is like, and I'll try to help you sell it. It's like, if it was like anything, I wouldn't have written it. I wanted to do something original. I wanted to do something. But with Gale, they came in and said, look, we're going to use, you all know who Dorothy is. But what if Oz fucked her up in the worst possible way? And what if all of that was true? And what if it was dark? And so they get you with that, and it's just brilliant. And that's why I both love it and hate it. It was like, no, there's so much original work out there. Can't we look at something new? But it's like, damn it, that's a great use. I can't blame him. It's just a really creative, beautifully shot, very imaginative, and in all the best ways. It's not just continuing the story. It's the dark what if, and really draws you in. I mean, I saw the first trailer, millions of hits. Saw the second trailer and went, oh, damn, this is great. And then when Dane told me he was involved with it, I just wanted to punch him.
now, Dane, the horror is very selective on when they bring in the IPs that have a whimsical side to it. But there has been a resurgence as far as, Mickey Mouse has been, released as an IP. Bambi, Winnie the Pooh. Now the last, I know, yeah, it's been so many, and it can be really kind of silly and not serious. It doesn't have a serious tone to it. It can be just for the sake of making a silly, gimmick movie. Now, there's been, like I said earlier, there's been a lot of different Wizard of Oz movies. The most famous ones that horror fans, before watching Gale Stay Away from Oz, know is Return to Oz, right? That was in the 80s, and that was the first take that we seen in like the horror element. Now, Dane, how did you come up with the idea of signing on to a project and like banking on this idea where a lot of producers and would probably be like, you know what, for my first IP, let's try to do a slasher, let's try to do a ghost story, right? You guys you said, okay, we're going to go to Oz. How did you guys come up with that idea?
So the story, I was scrolling on Facebook on I think 2022, and I think it was actually literally on Halloween when this happened. And I saw the trailer that Daniel Alexander, the director and concept creator for Gale Stay Away from Oz, he got some buddies together and created a trailer for a concept, to proof of concept, just to see what people thought. It absolutely went viral, millions and millions of views. And one of those views was me. I saw it, and just like everybody else, I was like, holy shit, this looks awesome. And we had just put video capability on Chilling. So, what do I have to lose? I'm going to reach out to this guy and see, do you have distribution? What do you've got going on? So I reached out to him on Facebook and I said, this looks awesome. Is the film done? Do you have distribution? And he responded. It was he's the most awesome guy. And he said, no, there's no movie. I just made this with some friends. I was like, what?
That's the magic.
So I immediately, the light bulb went off above my head. And I said, well, I would like to have a serious meeting about us producing this for you. And so many, many emails and phone calls and video calls later, we acquired the rights officially to the concept, which was absolutely grueling. Bill, we were talking earlier about waiting. Oh my gosh, man.
Bill,
Waiting for this guy to make a decision. I know that he was in talks with other companies too. So I don't know who he was talking to this day. I don't know. But eventually he finally got back and said, hey, we love what you guys are doing. We think you guys are a great team, and we would love to work with you. So from there, it was just about creating the short film as a further proof of concept to see what people really think of this. And so we did that. People loved it. It debuted on Chilling, and that's still the only place that you can watch it. And then I immediately knew after that we have to make a feature film out of this. And so to answer your question, I think I just went off the rails a little bit. To answer your question, you asked what made me want to do that. It's because I recognized the popularity at the time from the director, the creator of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. His name is Reese Frake Waterfield. Absolutely brilliant guy.
Yeah.
He's the one who started literally all of that. With Blood and Honey. And so even though his take on that film was a lot more lighthearted and goofy and silly, and just,
which is great.
Goofy. Yeah, you see the Disney tie-in he just threw.
That's what people were very intrigued by, is seeing Winnie the Pooh bash someone's head in. And it's absolutely brilliant, regardless of the way you feel about it.
I think I misspoke earlier. I think mostly it opened the door, right?
Yeah,
for a lot for
100%.
Gale Stay Away from Oz. Gale Stay Away from Oz couldn't exist if it wasn't for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just go over the top and get too psychological with horror fans sometimes. Sometimes you just got to show them Winnie the Pooh bashing heads in. And then once we get that and we get a Bambi, then people are ready for something that's a little more elevated but still fun.
There's an established history. There's an established, I mean, you know who these people are. You don't have to spend hours and hours trying to introduce or trying to do crap loads of exposition to try to explain who Dorothy is.
Right.
All you have to know is something, that there's something very wrong with Dorothy now. And then I think that's where they jump. That's jumping off point. And again, I think it causes your imagination to just race. And that's fortunate.
Exactly. And that's going off of what you just said, Bill. That's what I recognized is first-time filmmakers, when they're going out there, they're desperately trying to create a hook or a concept or an iconic character that's going to be as popular as Art the Clown or Ghostface. Everyone is trying to do that. And so when I realized that the entirety of the Wizard of Oz is public domain, which means it's all free game, you can do anything with that stuff. I realized I don't need to work as hard as trying to create an iconic character because I already have a bunch of them here. And so the idea of making a Wizard of Oz horror film, which the last time somebody attempted, if you want to call it that, was the Return to Oz, like you mentioned earlier, Day.
Right.
Um, and that's actually one of the creator, Daniel Alexander. That's one of his favorite films, and so that's where his real passion and idea came from. And I think I'm not actually even sure, so I don't want to be quoted on this, but I do think that Winnie the Pooh kind of sparked his imagination and like, wow, I could do this. No one's doing this. But
Were you
his
afraid? I'm
his
sorry.
whole take was not his whole take on it was serious. He did not want to make people laugh. It was not about that. Or for Gale, Stay Away from Oz, and I think those two films that we made show that.
I mean, when I look at reviews, of course, first thing everybody wants to do is say, unlike
Mhm.
this, they did this, they did that. Was Do you think Daniel had any trepidation about jumping into those waters
Oh
where he
yeah,
felt, because it's tough to do a film that's going to be compared to a beloved film.
right. And so yes, all those thoughts went through our heads. I mean, for years, and it was some of the reviews I think show that people didn't quite get what they expected. I know a lot of people went to the theater expecting to see more of a blood and honey type of situation, and that's not what we were trying to do. And so I do think, unfortunately for us, I do think a lot of those reviews show that. But we don't regret what we did. We're very proud of the film that we did and had a very serious tone, and we have full plans to keep the story going.
Yeah, well, with the idea of, and people forget this in the hindsight, and both of you guys have worked with and talked to many legendary directors and creators. Uh, when you're building a universe, when you're building a story, right, that takes time. And unfortunately, in this day and age, we're not we just don't have time. People just don't have time. And once you get to that third or fourth movie, people are like, okay, now I'm starting to see it. But in the beginning, it's really, really tough to get the audience to grasp on, especially if you, like you guys said, if you have IP characters where they have certain, you know, characteristics that you might try to break down, you might try to build upon, or you might just try to reinnovate in a whole different way, right? And
Right.
I think with a movie like this, and I want to know, Dane, how far are you guys going to take it? Like, are we like you said, the whole IP is up for grabs? So, are we going to get more lore? Are we going to get dive into more deeper connections? Like, what are we going to get without spoiling it, obviously? And again, all this is on the Chilling app. If you're not tapped into the Chilling app, we're going to talk more about the Chilling app here in a little bit, because I really want to dive into your head about that, because you are a modern day mogul. I know you probably don't view yourself like that, but with the waters that you're going into, the Netflixes, the Shutters, the Amazon Primes, and I'm over here looking at your catalog. And what's actually cool is, like, as you're watching it, or if you see something that you've seen before, you can leave a review on site. So Netflix doesn't have that. A lot of other apps don't have that. But Dane, do you and Daniel expand? Are you guys planning on expanding on that universe that you guys have built in that short?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the screenplay for part two is being written as we speak. And we absolutely are planning on expanding, showing more beloved characters in ways people are not expecting, and then also introducing other characters from the original novels that never really got the attention that they really deserved. And an example of that is Patches, who most people believe is some kind of a scarecrow type of character in the film, which is not too far off. It is kind of true. Um, but that character is actually not original to us. That's a beloved character that was in some of the original novels written 100 years ago.
Wow.
And so it was incredible to bring her to life for the first time. So yes, to answer your question, we absolutely plan on expanding all of it.
Right now, you see what happened with Backrooms. You see what happened with Obsession. I mean, these are relatively low budget films, 10 million sounds like a lot of money to me right now. But when you see that, do you feel a tendency to want to chase a trend? Like if I'm sure I've seen some of the reviews of Gale, and some of the people are saying I was expecting more blood and guts.
Mhm.
Are you and Daniel and the team thinking maybe we should be feeding the market, or are you going to try to stand and say, no, we think what we're doing will be what
Yeah.
audiences want, even if they don't know that that's what they want just yet?
So no, we're not chasing anything.
Good.
I get you could say that we did that with Stay Away from Oz. That wouldn't be a complete, you know, with that we were following kind of the lead of others like Reese Frake Waterfield who did Blood and Honey. So what we're doing at now is we're not totally focused on chasing stuff like Backrooms and Obsession. We're very, very happy for those filmmakers. We're just kind of following what we really think is going to make a good film. And Daniel is actually working on something very top secret right now. His script is almost done for something he's doing, which is extremely exciting. And I keep tapping him on the shoulder, like, "Hey, buddy, let me read it. Let me read it."
Let me
But
get dibs.
yeah, but so he's excited. Everybody's just doing their thing, and just as far as hopping on the bandwagon of things like that, Bill. I don't think any other filmmakers that are trying to do that, I don't think that's a bad thing. It makes sense. Why would you not do that? But I wouldn't say that we're doing that. No.
It's just there's such a you see a trend, and when people came to me when I was talking about my first film that I'm in the process of making, they were like, "Are we going to see that girl naked?"
Yeah.
No, that girl modeled after my daughter. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, "Well, is there going to be any?" It's like, no, that's not the film I want to make. Well, is there going to be a final clash between good and evil? No, and there's a side of me that says, okay, fine, let's just give them what they want. Let's get the movie made. I'll worry about doing my best work on my second film, and I know that I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that I have to kind of stay clear to a vision that I've got, because I think what I've got is something people will want. They may not know that yet, and I look at how Backrooms is doing and how Obsession is doing as a sort of a path that says, do the movie you want to make.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you to make the changes that would make it more commercial, because although that may be true, is it going to be any good? I mean,
Right.
and there's a tendency. It's a business. People want to make money. People who invest want their money back,
Mhm.
plus 25%, and then more if the investment really pays off, and you're obligated to give them that. But when I see movies like Backrooms, they had a big studio backing. And there was an interview that we were talking about last night with the director, who said, yeah, when you work with a studio, you got to take notes.
Mhm.
They're going to come at you and say, no, you can't say that. No, you must do this.
Mhm.
And he said, they didn't want to give me a lot of creative freedom because I didn't have any successes. I guess, 20 years old or something ridiculous. And so I kind of look at that, and I know, Dane, you guys have to look at that too. When somebody says, you did well, but let me tell you how to make money. It's like, I make money to make movies, not
Yeah.
make movies to make money.
Yeah.
That's
Well, what's great.
you feel like you guys are, now that you've got something literally out there that you can say, look, man, we've done this. We can tell a story. What pressure do you feel to try to make a buck?
I would say more. Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my question to you, Dane, is and Bill, you touched on it, right? When Daniel's working, and you spoke on it a while ago, Dane. When Daniel's working on the script, right? You're not like the normal, EP who's like, hey, can we put this in there? Can we? You just want to see the final product. You just really want to
Yeah.
see a young writer, young director see his final product, and you trust in that young director and writer. So I think that's kind of where we're at in this day and age, and that's why Dang, you spoke on how you're not changing, because people finally have a choice, right? People are like saying, "Hey, we don't want all this garbage that's on Netflix. We don't want all this garbage that's on Amazon Prime. And I love all the streaming, everyone who's a creator on all these platforms. I love you guys. But what's really cool about Chilling is you guys are the up and coming streaming service where you have a choice. You actually have a choice in what you're going to watch instead of getting fed this slop. And the first project that you guys have put out, you fully believe in, and we can see that the director, I didn't see anywhere where I was like, okay, he probably did that because of X, Y, and Z. No, he did it because it came from his head to the paper to the screen, and that's the best way I believe in making movies. So with the Chilling app, Dane, can you kind of tell us what you're doing with the future of streaming and horror stories? And like you talked about earlier, you've seen it from a monetization standpoint because your livelihood was being taken away. But now we're here in the year 2026, Shutter's popping off, Amazon Prime is popping off, Netflix, HBO Max. What pressure do you feel to stay up there and kind of talk about the highs and lows of being a mogul of a streaming service?
The pressure is unbelievable. It's a daily unbelievable pressure to stack up, I guess you could say. Yeah, it's what we're trying to do with Chilling is be the everything horror platform. The one thing that we're very, very proud of that we're leaning heavily on right now is the fact that we have award-winning audio novels. And these are not just little indie novels, which we also have on there. We've got a publication partnership that we're very proud of. And so that's one part of Chilling that we are heavily focused on because nobody else has that. But then as far as just doing what everybody else is doing in indie filmmaking with things like Obsession and trying to create original stories and be collaborative with the filmmakers and let them actually do what they really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily step in and put my foot down and say, no, I want this, but that's not how you really build a lifelong partnership where you want to make 30 movies with these people, and that's what I really want to do is let my directors and writers write and direct the way they want, so that they want to work with me again, so that they want to work with Chilling again.
What I love about Dane and Daniel is you guys struck gold. You guys have an IP that people are familiar with. And as Daniel gets better, as Chilling gets more money, and as Dane, you expand the company, you have an IP that expands over 100 years, right? So people can take their great grandparents, their parents, like this is an IP that will outstand the test of time. And you guys are forever now one of the starters of bringing it back to a helm of when I'm watching it, it is shot beautifully. The acting is amazing. When I seen Toto, I was like, that's my dog, literally. You know what I'm saying? My boy, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there was so much that I gravitated towards, and like, I'm so excited to see where this builds. And as you gain, and again, you're a mogul at this point, you're going to gain more and more of these beautiful filmmakers and writers. And Bill, you are one of the beautiful filmmakers and writers who also has a novel on out now. And what's great about Chilling app is that it gives people like Bill, who may be a retro guy who's looking to tap back in with the kids, as they say. And hey, I can put my book out here, right? And you guys can check it out. And there's audio formats. You can see reviews. And then if you're looking for someone who's making a featurette film who maybe might not be able to, they don't want to put it on Tubi because it's Tubi, right? All respect to Tubi, but Chilling app is for horror fans, right? So if you're the legitimate filmmaker or writer and you're wanting to get your work out there, Dane's your guy. This is your guy.
You want to find that niche too, because one of the things, I mean, that Dane was actually whether he meant to be or not, was very instrumental in me kind of diving into this a little more head first. Was that there's a thing, if you're listening to an audiobook on there that you really like, there was a place you could click that said evolve it.
Yeah.
And that was, I really like this book. I think this could be a film. And so you're letting the readers decide, is this the kind of story that I would love to see move to a different medium like film. And when I didn't make such a splash that people were dying on that hill to get my movie made.
Yeah, we got to get it out there.
But the idea that people were reading it, and I'm watching the reviews, and it's a vulnerable place to be when you put your work out there and you realize people may hate it. People may tell you you suck, cut off your fingers, stay away from computers.
Get a real job.
Get up your day job if you have one. But that gave me an opportunity to put my work in front of people. And I have to say, I was watching those reviews, not because I wanted them all to be good. I just wanted to see what they got out of it. I wanted to know they read it. I wanted to know that my characters connected with them in some way. And so that opportunity for a sort of beginner writer, I've been audiobooks for a long time, but always for other people. So when I recorded it for Chilling, there was a sense of, I really want people to connect with this. This is a great place to see it, because I put my books up on Amazon and people go, I hated this book. I hate horror books. What the fuck are you reading my book for?
Right.
Did you read the cover? I mean, you can judge my book by its cover. There's a big bloody hand doing this. You know this is a horror book. Don't buy it if you're gonna hate it. Yeah. When people come to Chilling, there's a tribe, a well-established group of people who this is. I always whenever I talk about Dane's channel, I say it's like Spotify for scary.
Oh,
because you can sit on there and you can go all over the place. You can say, today I'm going to go true crime. Today tomorrow I'm going to go short horror stories, just, encapsulated short stuff. No, but, I think I'm going to get into that book. That book's going to take me about 2 weeks. I'm just going to listen to that on my way to work each day.
Yeah.
It feeds an audience that wants this. And so, when you're putting it out there, when people gave me good reviews on Chilling, that was street cred, because it's like, these are experienced, sophisticated horror lovers.
Yes.
I'm not trying to appeal to the New York, book review, because that's not who this book is for. I'm not trying to say this is brilliant prose. I'm saying I'm going to give you a character that you so attach to that when something happens to him, you cry.
Yeah.
You are so invested in that. These are my people. And so when I saw a good reaction on Chilling, I knew that I'd actually done something that was worthy and that was good. And like I said, there's a lot to choose from on Chilling. You can go down that rabbit hole for years, I imagine by now, with all the content they've got. And you can pick your genre and you can pick your style, and you can say, I want background music. I want spooky sound effects. It's a really, really lovely app for somebody who just wants to engross themselves in this, genre and this vibe. And so I think where he's really tapped that others have not is it's not just movies. If you like books, if you like, your stuff, true crime, that's all there. You can get that kind of content and switch between them and really give them a holistic sort of full scary, whatever it is you're into. If it's scary, it's going to be here. And I think that nobody's doing that, and nobody's even trying.
Yeah.
These guys really kind of came out of the woodwork, and I think, there are other, platforms, but they're narrow, and I don't know. They just don't seem as welcoming to the entire horror crew, whatever that style is you like. I mean, for myself, true crime has a certain extra scariness because it's real.
Yeah.
These people, really did these things, versus the fantasy horror, vampires and werewolves and all that stuff, which is a whole other genre that I enjoy as well. You can get all of that in one place and go down the rabbit hole, and 2 weeks later, you're like, oh my God, I haven't done any work in 3 weeks. I've been stuck in, I've been just going down into
that rabbit hole. Yeah.
Deep. I mean, and it's engrossing stuff, where you, like I said, if you're listening to this and trying to work, God help you, you're not getting anything.
You're like, what did he just say? Damn.
Yeah. Oh my God, my boss called me 3 hours ago. Sorry. And I wasn't going to give it up. So that I really love about that platform. And I think as it expands, and you can watch Gale on Chilling. So if you're out there and you're thinking this is intriguing, this sounds really fun, you can do that. But there's all sorts of other content too.
All
Yeah,
sorts, and
and
it is
just
so price friendly. I'm looking at the prices right now. You have an annual fee of less than $60 a month. I think it's at $50 for the year,
Correct.
and then it's $5.99 a month. So I mean, you're cheaper than by far all the other streaming services, and you guys have a wide variety. And as we wrap up here for our first episode of One Hell of a Podcast, featuring Bill, or not featuring co-host Bill, and featuring Dane. I have a couple more questions on the Chilling app, real quick. Where do you guys plan on going for the future? As Bill spoke on it, you guys are inclusive. You guys let the fans tell you what you want to see, what you want to hear more of. And as you get more and more people who find you, you're looking at basically diamonds in the rough, really, because we have all these independent workers who are looking for a home. And I do know, as a content creator, you know, there's so many content creators out there who are looking for a home. And I think Chilling app would be a great place for them. And I know a lot of, I know you have a YouTube channel, and you're growing your empire. Again, a mogul Dane is. Do you have any plans in the future of expanding Chilling app into a everything horror, where you can find your favorite horror, whether it be a YouTuber, or whether it be a YouTube channel, or an Instagram content creator, a TikTok content creator, just somewhere they can have a home to put their content? Or what, if not that, what goals do you have for the future of the Chilling app as you go against the giants of Shudder and the Bloody Disgustings and the Amazons?
Yes. So we do have plans to be the one-stop shop for horror, anything that you can imagine. Podcasts, YouTubers, any content creator that you can imagine. As a matter of fact, we did actually launch a feature that we took away temporarily, but essentially creators can and will be able to upload their content onto Chilling and have their own page, their own channel.
Wow.
But that takes an unbelievable amount of managing, and
Yes,
it's just
obviously.
yeah. And we're still
have people putting porn up there just because they figure
right.
seriously,
yeah.
Somebody has to curate that and know what's on there, so you're not putting stuff that's might get a lot of hits, but it's not the genre you're trying to create.
Right. And so that's another thing, is just having to proof check everything and just make sure that it's not stuff like that
Aligns at least with the business that you're
I'm not
creating.
criticizing porn, please.
Right. And that's what's great.
My OnlyFans channel, you got to see my feet before you
All
make
right, Bill. Listen, I know you're trying to promote, Bill, but we can't be promoting your OnlyFans right now. But I think that's great, Dane. Having a place for, Daniel's found a home, and I think Daniel is going to be, again, one of the greatest directors of all time. He's shown in just one piece of work the way he can tell a story, and the way he can show that story in a way that at one point I felt like I was watching a timepiece. At another point, I felt like I was in Oz. I just went all over the place. And for a young director, there's the Chilling app is where you need to be. So as we get out of here, Bill, I know you are itching right now to promo. Speaking of Chilling app, Bill, I heard you have a novel out.
What is I can't even believe you brought that up. Go on to Chilling if you want to. I mean, that's a good place to see it. But I've got two books, one called By His Hand, the other called Out of His Mind. The one is the sequel to the other, By His Hand is first. Dirt cheap. I think it's a buck on Amazon, of which I get a total of 18 cents. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. But no, to me, it's never been about the money. It's always been about letting people see the work and hopefully enjoying it, finding characters and things that they like. And also, I'm also going to plug, excuse me.
He has the podcast. That's the podcast voice.
I used it too much. Up in August, we're going to be out at the, what is that called? That's called Geek.com, the largest gathering of ghost faces the world will have ever seen. And I think they've got right now 4 or 5 of the 7 ghost faces that even exist anymore. All going to be there. Plus, we're doing a world record thing. How many ghost faces can we bring to one place? We actually got Guinness coming out to do the world's largest gathering of the ghost face.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah, that's
Super
this
And
cool.
summer.
what is the date on that one?
I believe that's August 17 to 19 at Shreveport, Louisiana. The week to
Justin,
come.
it looks like we might have to take a flight out to see some
Oh my God, it is going to be fun. You're going to be able to have the pants on. We're going to have a good time. And that's like Lee Waddell, Brett Wagner, Felissa is going to be out there. It's just, we basically said, if nobody else shows, we're going to party like animals. I hope people show, but it's going to be a good time. We got a lot of really
regardless. Bill's shoes are going to be off. The piggies are
shoes
out.
will be off. Yeah, autographed foot pictures, whatever it takes. But no, those are my plugs, and also I too am also trying to in the pre-production process with Fairstream Pictures, putting together the By His Hand film.
Yes,
and that's why Dane and I go back and forth, commiserating about the absolute snail's pace at which things proceed on this. I mean, we're both, super excited. Dane's got another top secret project he and I have been talking about called Sea Monster. Oh, I just told everybody.
See, look, that's why we gotta have a bill. We gotta have a bill.
But there's lots of good stuff going on in it, and I'm hoping that people will kind of follow this channel, because if you do, you're going to see these things coming in real time.
In real
if you're
time.
a film, geek, and you just love watching these things kind of piece themselves together, we'll bring Dane back as his next project comes in, and it's exciting and it's boring at the same time. You watch and you hang on by your fingernails as you go move along, but you're only going to see us once a month talk about something like this. So for you, it's going to be wonderful. For us, it's excruciating.
Yes, and as we keep going, we will have Dane back. We will have Daniel as well to get in his mind of creating the wonderful world of Oz as it is being brought to us in a new way. But now, Bill, that was amazing, and we will have Bill back on as always. He's the co-host here, baby. Bill, One Hell of a Time podcast, and apparently we'll be in Louisiana in August. So check us out there. But as we finish up here, Dane, we're going to ask you a few questions, and these are for horror fans, and then we'll finish up with you as well. So the horror fans kind of want to know what got you into horror, and what is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Ooh.
And as a creator of now Chilling App, if you had to name your favorite director or writer of all time, and there's no wrong answers here, but we do have
these are all so easy for me to answer.
All right, go ahead, Dave. What do you got?
There are no wrong answers.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't make Wes Craven roll over in his grave right now.
I just visited his grave in Martha's Vineyard just a week ago. So what got me into horror, it's going to sound unbelievable, but it's the truth. Freddy Krueger. So Wes Craven. There's a video of me, I think 3 years old, asking my dad if I can watch Freddy Krueger over and over again. And he's just
Freddy
like,
Krueger, that sounds like an entirely different type of movie.
And he's trying to tell me, like, can you watch anything else? But that's what has really got me into it was Freddy Krueger back in the day, Nightmare on Elm Street. And then of course, Halloween followed suit, and then the rest. And so my favorite horror film of all time will be Jaws, and it'll never, ever be dethroned. Absolutely not possible. Jaws is, in my opinion, it's not just a horror film. It's the greatest film ever made, and it's not even close, in my opinion. My favorite director of all time, even though Steven Spielberg directed Jaws, he's not my favorite. My favorite is always going to be Wes Craven. Absolutely. There's no one will ever dethrone him. Absolutely not possible. He's just the GOAT. And by the way, I do recommend if you guys ever visit Martha's Vineyard, you can see all of the Jaws filming locations, and you can visit Wes Craven's grave at the same time. Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to put that out there. I already know the fans, the Hellions, are going to come for Dane, saying that Jaws is his favorite, but I know one person's going to love it. Anthony Mack, shout out Child of Corn YouTube channel. But it's been amazing, Dane. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
It's been so fun having you on here. And guys, for as low as $5.99 a month, And I'm pretty sure they probably have a free trial. You just got to hit up Dane. You know what I'm saying? But
it's cheaper than a California gas gallon of gas in California right now.
come on. Bill knows the gas prices in California. He's fighting every day. And he's like, but by God, I'm keeping my streaming service of the Chilling app. And
I'm not going anywhere. I got a place to be now. I'm going to take that $5.99 that I was going to spend on gas, go on Chilling, and just sit in my house and chill.
I'm walking to work. Bill, walk to work. Ladies and gentlemen, walk to work instead of paying gas prices. Sign up for the Chilling app. It's your home
keeps your feet safe, which is another thing I got to do.
Cannot have a serious moment with Bill. Justin's rubbing his eyes. He's like, Jesus. It's been amazing. Chilling app. Download it now for all horror novels, all horror movies that are independent, and for the original IP, Gale Stay Away from Oz. It's amazing.
That's that button, you that lazy bastard.
Yeah, right, and do that. Yeah,
right there. Just how hard is it to do? Mash that sucker.
Yes, and go watch that movie right now, ladies and gentlemen. One Hell of a Time podcast. It's been amazing. We're out here. Peace.